Okay, 20 degrees, kind of stuffy, but yeah, let's see. We'll see how this run goes. So it's going all right. It's just a little bit too hot to talk you through it, really. Well, the birds are singing. And there's a little bit, it's not a breeze, it's just like a gentle coolness that's just taking the edge off a bit. So yeah, it's going all right, getting easy. Almost there. I think I'm gonna go for one more mile. Slog that last mile. Yeah. So I am obviously dripping with sweat. It was, so it's like 20 degrees. It might be slightly hotter now. 68% humidity. So yeah, I'm sweaty and covered in flies, and I reckon I swallowed a few as well. But that was such a good run because yesterday or last night I slept 5 hours solid, then I woke up and the last 3 hours were kind of broken. But compared with the beginning of this year and kind of like the time that I took away from TikTok, where I was sleeping like 4 broken hours sleep a night, that is, a huge difference. So not complaining. But still, I woke up in my body because it was tired. My brain automatically goes, that's you're sad. And I was like, okay, no, we're not doing this today. Like, I've got shit to do. So I kind of like sat with the feelings, of course. I was kind of like, checked in. But then I was like, no, we're tired. So we can be gentle, but I knew that I was going to feel better after I did a run, because not always, but most of the time I'll feel better if I've had a run. And I do infinitely. So now I'll do my like tapping walk, grab some coffee, and I've got admin, and I've got like the workbook and stuff to put together for the course that I'm delivering on Tuesday. So exciting stuff, but that also means that I can kind of free myself up for the weekend to not do stuff and just like enjoy being with my, my friends and my family and stuff. So yeah, it was a good run. And yeah, so I think like running is like a really good opportunity for me to use my pattern recognition for like my personal good, and that it helps me to like understand what's going on. So I know, how my feet are hitting the ground. I can feel any pains that are going on and kind of like be like, okay, what do I need to shift to make that go? Where am I slightly off? But also like, so today, because it was hotter and I was a bit more tired and I went slightly further, I was like, okay, I need to do a little bit more on strengthening the muscles in my upper back, just so that I don't feel like it's a stress and a pressure to hold my posture and things like that. When I was a bit younger and in my like early sort of personal training days, I used to run by extending through my neck, and that meant that obviously I got neck pain, because you sort of think, oh well, if I push forward then I'll go faster, but no, it just hurts you. So little things like that. But I can also like change like how I'm gonna approach my pace or my speed or whatever based upon how I'm feeling in my body, what my digestive system is kind of like feeling and telling me, or depending on sleep. And it's I think this is the thing, there's so many there's so much videos and stuff out there sort of like really focusing in on the things that are really challenging about being autistic or being ADHD or being both. And there's so much opportunity there to take those same things and go, okay, so how can I swing this? How can I find something that it helps me? And I don't mean like bypassing things that are difficult and challenging and painful. Like I could speak loads about that as well. But I was explaining to someone the other day, somebody had asked a question, I can't remember because it wasn't the other day, it was the other week. And I think they were talking about mindset stuff, but they were also autistic and ADHD. And I was sort of telling them from how I kind of like experience things and think of things. And in my mind, now don't quote me because I don't have like research papers or whatever, but I hear quite a lot, you know, because of synaptic pruning and things like that. It means that, you know, autistic people can be processing up to 4 times the amount of information at rest compared with a neurotypical brain. And when you're ADHD, you can be like doing it like 4 times faster. So if you think about that in terms of like volume, that's like a lot of thoughts. So this is where I think, you know, being able to recognize what you're telling yourself whenever you're doing something or at rest or whatever, and just starting to begin to notice the dialogue that's constantly running through because of the speed and the volume of it. If that is predominantly telling you that everything sucks and everything's hard and everything's scary, then everything really is gonna suck, be hard and scary. So like part of what's helped me to kind of get back from feeling like I completely lost my fitness, which I didn't, but I felt like it really took a hit, and I started getting pains that I have had very rarely in my life because like I manage them because it's like my special interest. And I really had to be quite diligent when I was in that dark space to be like, okay, what am I telling myself and how true is this? And is there something that I can do where I can flip the script a little bit and just be kind of like diligent on just catching them? And running is one of the places where I have to do that. I have to remind myself to not be like, this is hard, and be like, you know, really affirming, be like, you're doing a great job. And like, this is easy. This is so easy. God, this feels so much easier than it did before. And it makes a difference. It's the same with, I tend to like have a constant frown. And when my resting face is kind of like, and low energy, as soon as I change how I'm holding my face, I feel the change in my energy. So I think that's something that's really fun and cool to play with if that's something that you want to do. I just know that there was no way I was going to get out of that space where everything was really, really, really fucking hard unless I started going, okay, what am I telling myself? How can I change that? And how can I make teeny tiny changes that starts making it easier? How can I start taking small actions back in the direction where I want to go? I didn't just like, I've taken at points huge periods of time out of running and just done walking. I found that I'd lost like a lot of my core strength and well, all muscle strength. So like I started building everything back up incrementally at the beginning of last year. I've been taking my time and I've been real quiet about doing it and just getting on with it and trying not to make it a big deal and being like, oh, I've got to do this, because that's another one. I'm not trying to recognize when I'm like, oh, I've got to do this, and like exhausting myself before I even start. I was like, okay, I get to do this thing, and the more I'm doing it, the easier it's getting, the stronger I'm feeling, the less pain I'm having, the less tired I am because my muscles are stronger, so my brain isn't having to work quite as hard, or my body and my muscles aren't having to work quite as hard to do the same amount of effort work. So yeah, it's been a big morning of kind of like being really reflective on how far I've come and how diligent kind of I've been with it as well. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's been so easy, because it hasn't. And that's a lot of why I took space out of the social media sphere, so I could just lock in and just focus on getting me where I needed to be, because then I'm in a better position to positively influence other people. And Friday, not done, but the run is done. Ace.